Guys, here's 5 exercises to avoid in the gym if you've had a back problem in the past or you're going through one right now. So we're going to be talking these through. I'll demonstrate, I'll tell you the reasons why, and some possible alternatives that you could do to do something just a bit different. Now, the idea is that we don't want to load up through our spine too much to get any added compression through there. And we also don't want to do any exercises that might put us in a jeopardized sort of rounding position, especially for those with poor posture already or someone that's unable to hold their neutral spine position. So neutral spine is our natural alignment from head to tailbone. So if we have our natural curves, then we're automatically in a stronger position. But we need to remember to work on those things. Reduce compression and hold and keep your neutral spine throughout your exercises. Guys, now the first exercise is our traditional back squat. Okay, so you can see in our back squat here that we've got our barbell resting on the back of our shoulders or our upper back area. And of course, you might be able to hold your neutral spine and you might be able to do your squatting technique okay, but what do you think it's actually doing to your spine? So this load is actually sitting on my spine, right? So it's adding extra compression through my spine, causing possible problems. If you had disc bulges or problems with disc injuries or just compression, or you sit too much and you get sore from sitting too much, then this exercise is probably not a great one for you guys, because it's just loading up through that spine with some unnecessary compression. Now, a good quick alternative is just to do a variation of a squat. You could grab a dumbbell or a weight and hold it at the front here and go into a goblet squat. You could do lots of different squatting variations, but speak to your coach, speak to your trainer, and just try to avoid the traditional barbell back squat to reduce that compression throughout your different parts of your spine. Another exercise, guys, is our traditional barbell deadlift here. So we can see, you would have seen this one in the gym before, loads of guys doing it, might be doing it well, might be doing it very poorly, but the goal is to keep our back nice and neutral, and a lot of guys actually can't achieve that safe position. The other thing is, with the load being out here in front of the body, it does fire up and activate a lot through the lower back muscles at the same time. Sure, it's a great strength builder. There's a time and a place for every exercise, of course. But we're really wanting to recruit our hamstrings and our glutes with this exercise, and we can achieve the same thing by just doing an alternative or a variation. Now, unless we're a powerlifter or it's a sport or our goal is specifically to increase weight in our deadlift, we probably can do a more sensible, smart choice, especially for those that have had a back problem. So speak to your coach. You can come up with an alternative, maybe a bit of a wider stance with a dumbbell. We can still work on this hip hinge pattern. With our hip hinge, it's being one of our important movement patterns to actually be able to do and achieve, but we just want to be doing it with a different variation or a different exercise to our traditional bar deadlift for many reasons. A lot of the time, guys are just going way too heavy. It's unnecessary, and they're just putting that extra stress and load on their lower back, and often they're training the wrong muscles to become even more imbalanced, even more overloaded. Okay, these ones that already are. So just see if you can come up with some simple alternative next time you're wanting to work on that posterior chain throughout your body too. Next, we've got our traditional sit-up. So as you can see, you've seen hundreds of guys doing these sit-ups, maybe even a bit higher, and really getting that big flexion through their spine. So flexion's when we get into that rounded position. So what do you think that's actually doing to your discs and through your spine here? So like I've said, guys, we want to keep our neutral spine when possible. So this crunching type exercise or this crunching mentality is really putting a lot of extra stress and strain through our lower back, through our discs, and just throughout our whole spine, really. Guys, so there's loads of good alternatives we can do for this one. And of course, there's 100 styles of this crunch sit-up type ab exercise that we don't need to be doing. So these abs that everybody wants are actually the superficial muscles, okay? They're all for show, this six-pack for the beach. Yeah, great, you look fantastic, but it's not actually helping your lower back because we're creating some more imbalances. We want to work on the deeper core muscles that make the biggest difference. So the transverse abdominis, the piriform, the pelvic floor, the diaphragm, the obliques here on the side. So there's so many good alternatives. We've got our dead bug exercise we can work on for our deeper core muscles. Okay guys, we've got our side plank exercises we can do for our obliques. Loads here. We've got different breathing drills and different things we can do for our diaphragm. So it's just important to be aware of these things, that sometimes these crunches can just be causing more imbalance through the body, and it's not actually going to be helping your lower back at all, guys. So skip that one when you're in the gym next. Guys, so next we've got our burpee exercise, and I'm actually trying to do them bad, but I do so many burpees, and I do my best to do them good because I'm fit and strong and healthy. But guys, if you're doing a burpee and you're under loaded flexion, it's very difficult to reach the ground. It's very difficult for people to do a push-up. It's very difficult for people to jump forward without rounding or bending their spine. Guys, it's really going to load up through your lower back there, and it's going to cause a lot of damage. If you've had a disc injury or any sort of back problem, we want to try to avoid impact, loaded flexion and landing in a poor, weak way. There's alternatives and different exercises out there that you could be choosing. Of course, there's a time and a place for everything, but we need to build our body up and be resilient and have some sort of idea about how to do the exercise the best possible way. Now, this exercise also is common in classes and things like that. So if someone's yelling at you to do more and more or go faster, faster, you just have to be very wary and sensible that you might need to swap this one out for an alternative. Guys, so maybe leave this one out of the gym next time you're in there and wanting to get that heart rate up, look for a different one if you've had a back problem. Out there, the lower back muscles, we're talking about these ones along the spine, so they're probably all hard and sore and really stiff and you struggle to switch them off. Guys, when you struggle to switch those off, we're probably going to be creating a bit more imbalance in the body. Okay, so we wanted to work our glutes, our hamstrings with this one, so we probably need to look for an alternative because our lower back's just too overactive and vulnerable and prone for another injury. Now, we don't want a setback. That's the last thing we want. So we need to look for an alternative, and then when the time's right, work through the series of progressions to maybe introduce something like this again further down the line. But definitely cut it out in classes, look for an alternative, and guys, see if you can come up with something else to train those big muscle groups for now. Now another one, guys, that we can avoid for now is our kettlebell swing. So you can see when I'm doing my kettlebell swing, my back's nice and neutral and it's straight, but we can't see what it's doing behind the scenes. Now I've built up the resilience and the technique and I'm able to perform this just fine. But for most guys